Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
When I was in the 7th grade, which was quite a few years ago, I ended up winning some kind of contest without realizing that I was entering a contest, and the prize was getting a couple of classes for free at the Des Moines Art Center. And one of the classes I took was one on painting, and another class I took was on photography. Now, when I was in the 7th grade, which, as I said before, was quite a while ago, was they didn't have digital cameras back then. The only cameras they had were, cameras. The point, they had point and shoots, certainly, but we cut our teeth on, well, at least in this class, real cameras, SLRs. An SLR, for those of you who know, stands for single lens reflex, and it's essentially a mirroring system so that the photographer, the person looking through the eyepiece, what they see is exactly what's captured on film, at least at the time that it's snapped, not accounting for any kind of shake or vibration that might happen. That's you basically. It's about as close. Well, it's not exactly WYSIWYG, but I don't know how you would equate it. Anyway, it's a better quality camera and typically a better quality image. That being said, even with an SLR or a digital SLR, I believe that the picture is less about the hardware and more about your eye. What you see makes the picture. That's what makes the best picture, not the camera. You could buy $1 billion worth of cameras and still be someone who just can't take a picture at all. The better the camera doesn't mean the better the picture. It just gives you a better tool set to create better pictures, more dynamic pictures, certainly more than you might be able to take, say, with a point-and-shoot camera. So now, in the past few years, digital SLR cameras have come down in price, like just dramatically. And Ponzi started to ask me about the options that were out there, and I was kind of like, Ponzi, you have issues with the point and shoots. Getting an SLR, it's a big deal because you got to worry about the body and then the lenses. And in some cases, the lenses might be heavier than the camera body itself. And then you got to stick with one and roll with it, and there's all these things that kind of go into it. It's not as simple as click, boom, you're done. There's a lot involved with getting a better quality camera. Not to mention size just being one of those issues and weight being one of those issues. So for the most part, and I've tried a lot of brands out there, and you've heard me talk about a few of them. I've been very happy with Canon's line of digital cameras. As a prosumer myself, I have now stepped up our family to a digital SLR. This is the Canon Rebel XT-I, which is really a revision of the XT, higher megapixels. I guess they changed the software as well. Very lightweight, very, 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 very lightweight, at least the body itself. And it was recommended to me by a few friends. Some people are Canon people, some people are Nikon people. Since Ponzi and I have both used and appreciated Canon's line of digital cameras, specifically the software and the functionality, it wasn't really that much of a leap in hopping into the Rebel XTI. I could pick it up, start shooting pictures, and figure out what I'm doing. And the controls are relatively simple and accessible. I can change ISO, right here on the controls. I can pan around, white balance, set flash, autofocus or manual focus right there on the lens. The menuing system is clean cut. It takes, of course, well, this one, it does take pictures on a compact flash card. The newer Nikons do take pictures on SD cards or SDHC cards, which I would have appreciated more since I already have SDHC cards around here. But that being said, I've never been happy at all with Nikon's software, and quite honestly, every bit of feedback I've ever sent to Nikon as a company was either ignored or I was just kind of brushed off. So Canon hasn't had that opportunity yet for me, but Nikon has lost me as a customer indefinitely because they treat their customers like crap. At least that was my experience. Oh, Ponzi was she was text messaging me telling me that dinner was ready. So I'm going to take some pictures of dinner tonight, sushi, since I happen to like taking still life photography. And that was actually one of our first fights, Ponzi and me. When we first met, she got mad because I didn't want to have my picture taken, and I wouldn't take her picture. And she said, well, you don't take pictures of other people. That must be, there's something wrong with you. No, no, there's not. It turns out I happen to be someone who likes taking pictures of things that don't move. It's just me. That's the way I am. I love pictures of nature. I love black and white photography. I love taking pictures. I do, but I don't, take pictures all that often. Most of what I do anymore is largely in video, since it's so easy to do these days. But I did get this SLR largely because she wanted to get one, and partially because I thought it'd be good to have a family SLR. So this is neither my camera nor is it Ponzi's. It's ours together. Of course, I've had some small, very very small experience with photography. I've learned about exposure, ISO, f-stops. I've learned about the technology, or well, I guess it's the technology of photography terms. I've pretty much learned them all my life, through experimentation, both with digital cameras as well as classic non-digital film cameras. But she really hasn't, so we're going to try to take a couple classes. I'm doing my best to teach her. One of the biggest tips I have that I can impart to anybody, and this was one of the first tips I gave her that's pretty much stuck with her the whole time she's been taking pictures, at least with me. She likes taking pictures of people, naturally, because I don't, is the rule of thirds. And people tend to take pictures of things or other people as they're in the center. And you'll notice that in a lot of my videos, I'm offset. There's a reason for that. I very seldom do I like sitting directly in the center of the camera lens. And I'm off just by a little bit. Just maybe it's to create some balance with your eye, but that's the idea of the rule of thirds, is you can still create harmony within the picture visually by just imagine these grid lines, these invisible grid lines, like a tic-tac-toe board, dividing vertically and dividing horizontally this into quadrants. And if you can line up the object that you're trying to frame on one of these lines, one of these meridians, and then take the picture or the video, you're going to end up with a dramatic change. And it's not really palpable. It's there. And the rule of thirds is, and it's an amazing tip that I would have now passed to you. If you've never heard of the rule of thirds, try it. Just take a picture of an object centered, and then look at it and then take it off center. And whether it's juxtaposed against a dramatic background or a stark background or not, I mean, just experiment. Learn the rule of thirds. In fact, a lot of digital cameras now come with these, what they call grid lines. They don't actually call it rule of thirds, but they come with these grid lines built in. You can turn them on. I always recommend turning on your grid lines if you have that option in your digital camera. Your photos, guaranteed to come out better if you use the rule of thirds. I know there are plenty of photography tips out there, plenty of digital photography tips, plenty of photography tips for digital SLRs, and I know I'm already going to catch heat for my whole Nikon versus Canon stance. Go Canon! It's a holy war, really. Those who like Canon and those who like not. It is. It's like there's a battle waging on next week by the People Who Have No Life Society between Canon and Nikon, who cared to argue about those things. Canon, by the way, this one only has one end. It's the clicky, not the boomy. So anyway, I'm curious. I'd like to see what kind of tips you'd send in. Beginner tips, advanced tips, really good tips. I know the tips that I ask for, the top 5 tips from you guys, you've been doing a good job, but they're starting to get repetitive. A lot of you are sending in the top 5 Windows Vista optimization tips. I'm like, I've already got 74 of them stacked up in my inbox. Send something unique. So maybe some photography stuff will do us some good. Who knows? Maybe you got something that goes beyond the lens. Let me know what you think. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. I'll be uploading at least my favorite shots that I take, maybe of the sushi. I love taking pictures of sushi. It's fun. Of course, I love eating sushi more than I like taking pictures of sushi. And no, if you're wondering, I do not own any USB sushi, although it is available somewhere on the internet. Hamachi! Sorry, had to do it. That's Ponzi's favorite sushi, by the way, hamachi. I think I've said that before, too. Anyway, I'm waxing pathetic, so I'm going to bring her to a close. If you'd like to talk about technology, whether it's about the tech behind photography, digital cameras, Maybe you're looking for some recommendations. Maybe you've got some recommendations to make. Maybe you've got a product review. Maybe you just picked something up and you'd like to tell everybody about it, why you like it, what you don't like about it. I'd love to share it with the rest of the world. You got my email address. And if you want to talk tech with us, we're typically hanging out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And by the way, we do random giveaways, too. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know what day, what time. You just never know. But that's the good thing. That's why we're open all the time, streaming live video and audio, typically talking tech at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.